Are the New York Knicks planning to trade for two NBA superstars? The rumors surrounding the Knicks are hot, and Richard Jefferson, no Knicks hater of ESPN, mentioned the idea of the Knicks trading for Joel Embiid and another star. We're going to get to that on today's show. You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports, and I am your host, Marshall Green. Let's dive into what Richard Jefferson had to say, though, about the Knicks. Quote, I think Joel Embiid and another superstar will end up in New York. If you try and get a player to come in and be a superstar and save your organization, there's going to be a problem. No one wanted to come be the savior of the New York Knicks. So now that they have the talent they built within, they've got core pieces, they've got an all-star point guard in Jalen Brunson, and now guys are going to want to play there. And Richard Jefferson isn't the first person that has brought up the idea that the Knicks could trade for not just one big-time player, but two big-time players. They have a lot of draft picks. They have a lot of people that they could include in a trade. And I really only think there's three teams in the association that can really compete with what the New York Knicks have to offer. That includes the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Brooklyn Nets, and the Utah Jazz. The Jazz, they have all those picks from trading Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. The Brooklyn Nets have a bunch of first-round picks because they traded Kyrie Irving and they traded Kevin Durant. And Sam Presti down in Oklahoma, he has been collecting draft picks for it seems like 20 years at this point. But the Knicks, they can compete with all of those offers because when you look at what the Knicks have in the chamber when it comes to draft ammunition that they could trade, there's a whole bunch of it. Potentially 4 first-round picks in 2024, 2 first-round picks in 2025, 8 tradable first-round picks at this current moment, and they have 10 first-round picks in the next 7 years. Let's focus in on the 2024 class because those 4 picks that the Knicks have, 3 of them are protected. 1 are their own first-round picks, which is unprotected. They own the rights to the Dallas Mavericks pick, which is top 10 protected, top 18 for the Pistons, and top 12 for the Wizards. But it's not just the draft picks that are going to make a trade package that Leon Rose, World Wide West, and Tom Thibodeau that they could put together to make it appealing. You look at this roster, and there's a whole bunch of young pieces that I know other teams across this league could covet. Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley. Those are 3 pieces that almost every team in the NBA would like to have. You trade for Joel Embiid, it's sad, but Mitchell Robinson, a young center that's on a cheap contract, is also going to be included in those deals. So that's 4 young players that are cost-controlled and have still a bunch of upside. I also like what Richard Jefferson said here, and I thought he illustrated a point that we've brought up on this show from yours truly. Quote, Brunson's on a friendly contract that runs in with an all-NBA player that's getting paid like a lower-level all-star. I think that Brunson's deal is going to be such a team-friendly one that allows the Knicks for them to get 2 max contracts, which is very difficult today to add 3 max contract players and nothing else but minimums. And the fact that Jalen Brunson is on that short deal, not short, but cheap deal, Knicks are going to be able to do that. And this gives me vibes of 2016 Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry. The reason the Golden State Warriors were able to go out and sign Kevin Durant in NBA free agency back on July 4th was because Curry had a bunch of ankle problems, as we know, growing up in the NBA. And at that time, he was on a 4-year, $44 million deal, which was only $11 million at the time. Obviously, that's a little bit cheaper than Brunson, but the cap has gone up and the percentages are somewhat the same. But all that matters, it doesn't matter if the Knicks don't take advantage of Jalen Brunson's contract. Leon Rose, the general manager of this basketball team, the president of basketball operations, whatever you want to call him, he's the key decision maker. Leon Rose must capitalize with Brunson on a cheap deal. Because, sure, we're all giving Leon Rose credit for getting Brunson here and getting him on a cheap deal. But at the end of the day, what does it really matter if he's not able to parlay that into another move to take advantage of the cap space that he is saving with Jalen Brunson? If he doesn't, it's going to be a missed opportunity for this franchise, and I think they may suffer for it during this Jalen Brunson era. ESPN put out a list of 8 NBA superstars that they think are most likely to be traded. We're going to break that down in a second, but first, I want to hear from you. Richard Jefferson thinks the Knicks are trading for 2 stars. That'd be pretty damn cool. I want you in the comments to let me know 2 stars you want the Knicks to trade for right now in the comment section. ESPN had a roundtable discussion with multiple NBA insiders, and they all conducted a vote as to which 8 NBA superstars do they believe are going to request a trade next. And the player that came in first place, Joel Embiid, and he received 40% of the votes from those insiders. Right now, there is just so much smoke around Embiid in the Knicks. But not just that, just Embiid potentially forcing his way out of Philadelphia. We've broken down the Joel Embiid rumors on this channel time and time again. Go check it out. We put it out earlier this week. We got reports from Yahoo that maybe he wants to force a trade, and maybe Philadelphia wants to rebuild through the NBA draft with young players. I would also probably have voted for Joel Embiid to be the next superstar to force his way out, and he comes in at number 1 on this list by ESPN. The player that came in second place, what about Zion Williamson? 20% of those NBA insiders voted for him to be the next guy to force his way out. And I like Zion as a player, but I'm going to go off of what Richard Jefferson said. Richard Jefferson believes that the Knicks are going to trade for Joel Embiid. And if they do so, I think the fit with Zion and Embiid is just a little bit clunky. You know, there's going to be a lot of shots from the free throw line down. You already have Jalen Brunson, who likes to operate free throw line down, over 19 drives per game last year for number 11. So if you have him, Zion, and Embiid, that paint is really going to be overpacked. And I worry that with the 4 that can't really stretch the floor next to Embiid, how well that fit might work on the offensive end. The third player on this list is Karl Anthony Towns, the sharpshooting big man for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I've heard from multiple sources that if the Knicks wanted to trade for Karl Anthony Towns this summer, they would have done so. The opportunity presented itself, and there's a reason he's not on this team. Myself, I'm not a Karl Anthony Towns guy. I respect his game. I know he's a good basketball player, but I just don't want him on my basketball team, to be quite frank with you. I don't think he has that dog in him. I don't think he's an ultimate competitor, and I don't think that he could survive the bright lights of Madison Square Garden. The next player we're going to talk about on this list is a point guard that goes by the name of Trae Young. He may be young, but damn, his hair is terrible, and he's already starting to bald. F Trae Young. No, I do not want Trae Young on the New York Knicks. I have a point guard in Jalen Brunson, who's better than Trae Young. So no, I don't want to trade for Trae Young. At the end of the day, it's F Trae Young, and let's get it going in the comment section, baby. Light up the comments. Let's get those F Trae Youngs going. I just love the rivalry that has been brewing between the Hawks and the Knicks and Trae and the New York Knicks. It's all good and fun, but let's light up the comments. Type it, F Trae Young. The next player, what about Kyrie Irving? Kind of the same thing I just said about Trae Young. We have our point guard, and I'm probably in the minority here, but I believe Jalen Brunson is a better basketball player. Oh, let me rephrase that. I believe that Jalen Brunson is a better basketball player in the sense of winning games. I think Kyrie is more talented and more skilled, of course, but if I had to build a franchise around one of those guys, it's going to be Jalen Brunson. So no, I am not interested in Kyrie Irving. I don't want to pair him alongside Jalen Brunson. I don't think that fit makes all that much sense. And at the end of the day, Kyrie's a flake. I'm not a fan of his, and I don't want him on this basketball team. The next player ESPN voted on was rising star Ja Morant. There's no doubt that Ja Morant is one of the most talented young players in this league, but the off-the-court stuff, the immaturity, the lying, and the refusal to just act like an adult, I'm not a fan of. So keep Ja Morant away from the New York Knicks. And also, we have a point guard, so I'm not in the camp of wanting to trade for Ja Morant for him to play alongside Brunson. Don't necessarily want to take the ball out of Brunson's hands for any point guard in this league. We'll get to the rest of the list in a second, but first, I want you to get hooked up with our proud sportsbook partner, BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/bet, use the promo code CHAT125, and get a 125% deposit bonus. $100 in your account, they'll match it. You'll have $225 to bet on. The NBA season's right around the corner. The NFL preseason is here. If you're a degenerate like me and want to win some free money, do it on the preseason. And the NFL season, just a couple of weeks away. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code CHAT125. Get rolling today. Now, this player seems like a name that I've talked about maybe once or twice or 60 times on this channel. What about Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has the opportunity to sign a contract extension with the Cleveland Cavaliers before the NBA season gets underway. And from everything I've heard and people I've talked to, he has no intention of signing that deal. So I think that this seems like the most likely player on this list outside of Joel Embiid to end up a New York Knick. I'm not going to rehash everything I've said about Donovan Mitchell because you guys know, if you are subscribers, if you're not, scroll back and go look. But Donovan Mitchell wants to be a Knick. The Knicks want Donovan Mitchell. He doesn't want to play for the Cavs. I will leave it at that. What about this potential starting five, though? What if you're able to land Donovan Mitchell and Joel Embiid, like Richard Jefferson hinted at, adding two superstars? Obviously, there's some people that aren't in the starting lineup. That's because you got to do something in a trade, and you got to give up people. Probably would lose out on Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and Mitchell Robinson, and a good portion of those draft picks. But at the end of the day, does any other team in the NBA have a better starting five than Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Josh Hart, Julius Randle, and Joel Embiid? I think the answer to that is no, and I think this team could win multiple NBA championships. The last player, not much of a chance for this one, in my opinion. I'm not sure Luka will retire a Dallas Maverick, but I don't think that this is likely for the New York Knicks at this current state. It's just a pipe dream for me. I will say this, though. If the Dallas Mavericks do not make the playoffs yet again this year, that seat that Mark Cuban is sitting on is going to start heating up a little bit because Luka is going to get happy. And as we know, when NBA players aren't happy with their current situation, what do? They force their way out. But I still think we're a year away at minimum from that ever happening. I'll ask this question before we bounce on out of here. Do the Knicks trade for a star before the NBA trade deadline? Let's just say one star. Do the Knicks trade for a star before the trade deadline coming up in February of 2024? You be the decider. I don't even know if that's a word. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. As always, you can follow me over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'm trying to follow more Knicks fans. So if you're a Knicks fan, which you probably are if you're watching this video, give me a follow, tweet at me, Go Knicks, and I'll give you a follow back.